The breaking point, I never thought honesty could be called cruelty. But the night I told him the truth, I became the villain in everyone else's story. It was supposed to be simple, just a conversation between friends. He had confessed his feelings for me weeks before, and I had avoided giving an answer, afraid of hurting him. But dragging it out any longer felt worse than cutting the thread. So I told him why I couldn't be with him. I expected sadness, maybe disappointment. But what followed was betrayal, though not from him, at least not at first. It came from the people I trusted most, our friends. "You broke him," they whispered. "You destroyed him. How could you do that to him after everything?" Their words wrapped around me like chains. Suddenly, I wasn't the girl who spoke her truth. I was the heartless one, the breaker, the betrayer. And worst of all, he didn't defend me. Chapter 1, the confession. It started at the cafe where we always met. He was nervous, fiddling with the sleeve of his hoodie, his eyes darting everywhere but mine. "I like you," he blurted out, "not just as a friend. I want more." For a second, my heart clenched. He was kind, funny, someone I trusted. But not in that way. I forced a smile, told him I needed time, and that time stretched into weeks, awkward silences replacing our usual laughter. Finally, I couldn't carry the weight anymore. I asked him to meet me in the park at dusk. The air was heavy, the sky bleeding into orange. My voice trembled as I told him the truth. "I care about you, but not like that. You're my friend, and that's all I can give you." His face broke, not with anger, but with something worse, devastation. And as he walked away, I felt like I had ripped something fragile beyond repair. Chapter to the turning of friends. The next day, everything changed. Our group chat exploded with accusations. "How could you reject him like that? Hayes shattered because of you. You should have given him a chance. You owe him that much." I stared at the screen in disbelief. When did telling the truth become a crime? When did my feelings stop mattering? But what cut deepest was his silence. He didn't stop them. He let them paint me as the villain while he drowned in their sympathy. That was when I realized betrayal doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it comes from silence. Chapter 3, the whisper campaign. Days turned into weeks, and the whispers grew louder. People who used to smile at me now avoided my gaze. Rumors twisted the story, that I had led him on, that I had mocked him, that I had laughed when he confessed. None of it was true, but lies travel faster than truth. I confronted him once, desperate. "Why won't you tell them what really happened? Why won't you stop them?" He looked at me, his eyes heavy with sorrow, and said, "Because I am broken, and they're just protecting me." In that moment, I understood. He didn't want the truth, he wanted the story that made him the victim. And our friends were eager to believe it. Chapter for the real betrayal. The final blow came at a party. I walked in, hoping to reclaim some normalcy, but the room went silent. He was there, surrounded by our friends, their hands on his shoulders, their eyes sharp on me. "She broke me," he said softly, but loud enough for everyone to hear. And they believed him. Every single one of them. I felt the floor vanish beneath me. My honesty, my refusal to fake feelings I didn't have, had been twisted into cruelty. And the people I thought were my friends, people I had trusted for years, had chosen his pain over my truth. Chapter 5, aftermath. In the end, I walked away. From him, from them, from all of it. Was it betrayal? Yes, but not the kind people saw. The real betrayal was how my friends abandoned me for a version of the story that wasn't even real. The real betrayal was how silence became his weapon and sympathy his shield. And me? I learned the hardest lesson. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes it chains you to a role you never asked to play, the villain in someone else's tragedy. But I'd rather live as the villain for being honest than as the betrayer for living a lie. The Breaking Point party. Chapter 6, the exile. Leaving them wasn't like ripping off a bandage. It was like cutting off a part of myself. For years, that group of friends had been my world, my weekends, my laughter, my secrets. And now, they weren't mine anymore. At first, I thought I could survive the silence. I buried myself in work, in hobbies, in anything that would distract me. But loneliness is a patient predator. It crept into the corners of my apartment at night, whispering the words they had thrown at me. "You broke him. You destroyed him. Sometimes I almost believed it, but deep down, another truth gnawed at me. They had chosen him, not because I was cruel, but because his brokenness was easier to rally around than my honesty. And that realization festered into anger. Chapter 7 Cracks in the Circle. Weeks later, I ran into one of them, Lena, the quiet one of the group. She looked uncomfortable, shifting from foot to foot as if speaking to me was forbidden. I didn't want to take sides, she whispered. But you know how it is. He made them believe you led him on. My stomach dropped. So it wasn't just silence, it was active lies. He hadn't just let them twist the story, he had twisted it himself. I walked away trembling, the betrayal cutting deeper. This wasn't about heartbreak anymore. This was about control. He had turned my friends into his shield and me into their enemy. Chapter 8 The Watcher. Something strange happened after that. People started reaching out not to comfort me, but to ask questions. A rumor had spread that I had left town because I was too ashamed to face what I'd done. Except I hadn't left. I was still there, living in the same apartment, going to the same stores. It meant one thing: someone was spreading stories about me, inventing details to keep the fire alive. And then, one night, I saw him, outside my building, just standing there, watching. When our eyes met, he didn't flinch. He didn't wave. He didn't even look guilty. He just stared as if daring me to confront him. Then he turned and walked away. That was when I realized this wasn't heartbreak anymore. This was war. Chapter 9 The Gathering of Secrets. I started collecting pieces, conversations, screenshots, whispers. Not out of spite, but out of survival. It didn't take long to discover the truth. He wasn't broken. Not really. He was thriving on the attention. He had become the tragic hero of their little circle, the poor boy destroyed by the heartless girl. And behind closed doors, he was already flirting with someone new, complaining to her about how damaged he was, how much he needed saving. The irony made me sick. He had painted me as the villain while rehearsing the same role with someone else. But this time, I wasn't going to stay silent. Chapter 10 The Reckoning. The opportunity came during another party. I wasn't invited, of course, but Lena slipped me the details. You deserve to defend yourself, she said softly. So I went. When I walked in, the room froze. Their laughter died. He was there, sitting in the center like a king, their hands on his shoulders again. His face darkened when he saw me. What are you doing here? He demanded. Setting the record straight, I said, my voice steady. I pulled out my phone and played the recordings, the late-night messages he had sent to the new girl, the ones where he bragged about how easily he had turned everyone against me, the ones where he admitted he liked being the victim because it made people stay close. The silence that followed was deafening. Their eyes turned on him, one by one, disbelief melting into betrayal. For the first time, he was exposed. Chapter 11 The Collapse. He tried to fight back, of course. Claimed I had twisted his words, claimed I was obsessed with him. But the evidence was undeniable. The sympathy he had weaponized crumbled beneath him, leaving him exposed and alone. One by one, they left his side. Even Lena? Even the ones who had shouted at me the loudest. By the end of the night, he was the one standing in silence, abandoned. And me? I walked out, not victorious, but free. Chapter 12 Aftermath. It didn't fix everything. Trust, once broken, doesn't magically repair itself. I didn't go back to that group. I didn't want to. Instead, I built something new. New people, new laughter, new trust that wasn't built on pity or lies. Sometimes I still hear the whispers she broke him, but I no longer care. Because the truth is stronger than whispers, and betrayal only holds power if you let it. And as for him, he became a ghost in the very circle he once ruled. A reminder that sometimes the worst betrayal isn't in being honest, it's in choosing the lie that makes you feel powerful.